Very interesting topic that we have, offbeat careers, and the panel that we have today is really amazing. Without further ado, I'll start the discussion. Thanks a lot, panelists, for being here with me today. Let me pose this question to Mandeep and ask him, Mandeep, do you think parents are now open for their children to take this path of offbeat careers? Because you interact with parents a lot, so has the trend changed from the past, and is there an openness in parents to accept their children going towards offbeat careers? What do you say?
I'm glad the question starts with the parents because, yes, in my opinion, a career is offbeat or acceptable or not acceptable in the mind of the parents. In the mind of the kids today, there are so many possibilities, there are so many opportunities, and which we can't even fathom how their mind works, where they connect the dots. So there are lots of opportunities. So parents, yes, and in my limited opinion, I think parents and that circle of well-wishers at large has a lot more growing up to do. We get parents who will walk into the door saying, मैंने तो कभी जी force ही नहीं किया जी, बेटी कुछ मर्जी कर ले जी, etc. etc. And at the end of the discussion, नहीं पर ये science कर नहीं सकती क्या, मतलब science is not possible. So they want to appear accepting, open, cool, but that's the way we've grown up. That a science student is ultimately a person who will be successful or run the world. Now again, I'm not a science student, but I have huge regard for a science student, but ultimately a science student is a problem solver. But not every person needs to be a problem solver. You need someone to even interpret that problem and the solution and explain it to the rest of us, and that's what a humanities student does. So there are lots of opportunities, and as I see all of us sitting over here, there are lots of success stories here. And Ranbir Kapoor, I wanted to talk about him as well. So I would just end by saying parents have started that journey, but all of us have a duty to allow, to enable the kids that we come across to dream big and to follow their passion. Let's not only put it on parents, all of us as mamas, chachas, tayas also have a responsibility to play in that.
Interesting, thanks.
Thanks, Mandeep. Ashu, your point?
I think it's a very difficult one, right? I think as a kid, not very long back, right? I think you're in a zone where you are constantly challenging, right? I think a lot of this thought that comes from, friends, family, well-wishers, right? But I think as a father today, I think the tables are turned, right? I think you think of a safer career, a safer bet. No, but I think the other thing on that, Pranav, is that I run a media company. I get an opportunity to talk to a lot of founders, promoters, venture capitalists, investors, and so forth, right? Now, the biggest of all challenges that we are seeing right now, especially after 2020 or what we've seen, right, is like a pivotal year of sorts. The way it's disrupted the industry, nothing seems to be clear, right? Nothing seems to be clear. We had, for last 100 years, we had built systems for an inefficient world, right? Where there was an offline world, there was lack of data and so on and so forth, right? Today, we are in a massively connected economy, which is extremely transparent. And on the other side, the consumer has access to more and more information, which just makes it very dynamic. So, while, of course, I would want to enable and promote creativity, the fact of the matter is that while that is a space which has become very, very challenging and is going to be ever evolving and changing, our traditional ecosystem of education is almost at such a weaker position and play. So, I don't know, not very clear answers, but I think we are headed in for very, very dynamic times. I think which is going to have space for a lot of people, but excellence is something which is going to sustain, is how I see it.
Thanks, Ashu. Gurpreet, your thoughts again on the same question. Are parents open to offbeat careers?
Can I talk as a parent?
Yes, you can talk as a parent and as a son also.
Perfect. So, as a son also, Papa ne मारना आके मेरी पढ़ाई क्यों कर रहा है? Okay, let me first talk as a parent. I am father to a 17-year-old son, and my daughter is 13. And in early stages, I told my wife Gulleen कि गुरबानी मेरी बिटिया जो है ना, मैं कहा इसको ना तंग नहीं करना है, इसको नदी की तरह बहने देना है, because that is how she, as a person, I know her. When she was like 6-7 years old, my son, I said, he is a great guy, but इसको ना हल्का सा ना, हल्का सा left, हल्का सा right हो जा, वो करना है. And my son, he's, I'm giving a few context because I'm talking about personal experience. He is, for the last 8 years, has been solving Rubik's Cube, is amongst India's top 10 Rubik's Cube speed cubers in India. And which means he is good at analytics and maths. And in 9th class, he came and he said, कि पापा मेरे को तो ना lawyer बनना है. ठीक है, जो करना है करो. I have a rule in my life कि don't blame, don't be lame. क्योंकि हम लोगों ने बहुत ऐसी गलतियां की हैं कि हम ब्लेम करते हैं, पापा ने नहीं करने दिया, टीचर नहीं करने दिया, मामे ने गलत घुसा दिया. इट इज सिंपल, डोंट ब्लेम, डोंट बी लेम. मैं कहा जो करना है करो. वापस आके मेरे को अगर बोला 5 साल बाद आपने कुछ गलत किया तो मैं वहीं पे मारूंगा ना. वही से आई वांट टू बी बिकम लॉयर. लॉयर के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? आर्ट्स करनी पड़ेगी. जी सद के जो करना है करो. 2020 मार्च एग्जाम्स हुए, रिजल्ट आ गया, एंड टीचर सेड कि भैया क्या करना है? मैं कहा जी he wants to do law, he wants to go into art, simple. Okay जी, humanities join हो गया. किस्मत का खेल कोविड आ गया. अब कोविड में क्या हुआ? कोविड में ऑनलाइन क्लासेस शुरू हो गई, और बच्चे क्या होते हैं? बच्चे होते हैं शरारती. इट्स ओके इफ आई स्पीक इन हिंदी. मैं जब मतलब हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स जो मेरे मन में आ रहा है, दैट्स इट कंफर्टेबल. अगर यस तो जोर से यस बोल दीजिए. क्या बात है, ऐसे ही कह रहे हो खाना खा के ढीले हो जाते हैं. सो हुआ क्या कि ही केम बैक एंड बच्चे शरारती होते हैं. दे स्टार्टेड एक्सचेंजिंग ईच अदर्स पासवर्ड्स. एंड माय सन, व्हाइल ही वाज अटेंडिंग ह्यूमैनिटीज क्लास, ही वाज आल्सो अटेंडिंग बिजनेस स्टडीज क्लासेस. ठीक है जी. 7th April शायद, he came back to me and he said कि पापा मेरे को ना कॉमर्स में मजा आ रहा है.
लॉयर नहीं बनना.
हाँ, वो कॉमर्स में मजा आ रहा है, मुझे अकाउंट्स में मजा आ रहा है, वो करनी है. कोई बात नहीं जी. आई रोट दैट मेल. मैं आने से पहले पढ़ा था, डेट चेक कर रहा था, तब भी मेरे को गलती लगी अप्रैल मार्च अप्रैल. आई रिक्वेस्टेड टीचर एंड थैंकफुली बच्चे की भी रेपुटेशन अच्छी है, हमारी भी थोड़ी बहुत ठीक ठाक है. एंड आई सेड कि मैम प्लीज आई रिक्वेस्ट हिम टू मूव टू कॉमर्स. एंड शी सेड नो प्रॉब्लम, डन है जी. अगले दिन से ही वाज अटेंडिंग कॉमर्स, ह्यूमैनिटीज को पीछे छोड़ दिया. नाउ
अब ये मत बोलना साइंस में चला गया फिर उसका.
After 15 days, he came to me and he said, "Ki Papa, I'm enjoying physics and maths, and I want to do science." और ये बच्चा हुआ जिसको केमिस्ट्री में ऑलमोस्ट फेल था ये 10th क्लास में. मतलब मुझे पता जब केमिस्ट्री क्या तो टीचर कहती है कि मतलब ये NaCl भी सही नहीं कर पा रहा. दो ही इज ग्रेट, बट अगेन एक थॉट प्रोसेस होता है. इफ इज नॉट एंजॉयिंग इट एज किड्स, इफ यू नॉट एंजॉयिंग इट, यू नॉट डू वेल. जबरदस्ती कर लोगे तो क्या कर लोगे? सो मैंने फिर रिक्वेस्ट की, एंड दैट वाज अ लॉन्गर लेटर बिकॉज पहले मैं कॉन्टेक्स्ट समझाया टीचर को, फिर कन्विंस किया, फिर आगे की बातें बोली, फिर बोला कि मैं किसी काम आ सकता है ना. एंड प्रिंसिपल सेड आई एम द मोस्ट हैप्पीएस्ट पर्सन, साइंस में कर लो. अब नाउ ही हैज फॉर लास्ट 11th किया, अभी 12th का एग्जाम दे रहा है. कल अपना कंप्यूटर साइंस का फाइनल एग्जाम है 12th का. नाउ ही मेरे को लगा मैं ज़्यादा टाइम ले रहा हूँ.
नहीं
आई विल सुपर क्विक क्योंकि मैं फिर कहानियां सुनाते रहूंगा. हुआ क्या, एंड देन नाउ ही स्टार्टेड अप्लाइंग कि मुझे तो ही वाज वेरी क्लियर अबाउट थिंग्स. आई थिंक टुडे द बेस्ट थिंग दैट चिल्ड्रन कुड हैव एंड इवन वी एज एडल्ट्स इज द क्लैरिटी ऑफ व्हाट वी वांट इन लाइफ, व्हाट वी वांट इन डिनर, वेयर वी वांट टू गो. छुट्टियां क्या मनानी है. तो ही सेड आई एम वेरी क्लियर, आई वांट टू डू कंप्यूटर साइंस एंड मैथ्स, एंड आई वांट टू गो टू यूएस टू स्टडी बिकॉज वहाँ का जो स्टैंडर्ड है, करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, मुझे नहीं पता, बट करेक्ट भी मत करना बिकॉज मेरी नहीं चलनी, उसी की चलनी है. तो ही सेज कि मैंने को यूएस में ही करना है और मैथ्स कंप्यूटर साइंस करनी है. ये खुद अप्लाई करता गया, मेरे से आगे ओटीपी लेता गया जी, एप्लीकेशन. एंड 30 days बैक ही केम टू मी एंड ही सेज कि पापा मेरा ना पर्ड्यू यूनिवर्सिटी में एडमिशन हो गया है. अब मुझे नहीं पता पर्ड्यू क्या है.
इट्स अ नाइस यूनिवर्सिटी.
थोड़े दिन बाद मैं कहा जी फिर क्या प्लान है, करूँगा, आई एम वेटिंग फॉर मोर. थोड़े दिन बाद आया कि होटल यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ विस्कॉसिन में भी, यही कहते हैं ना विस्कॉसिन, मेरे को आज तो नहीं पता विस्कॉसिन कहते हैं विस्कॉसिन कहते हैं, उसमें भी हो गया. थैंक यू सर. तो उसमें भी हो गया. ऐसे बहुत बढ़िया. कहाँ पे जाना है मैं सोच के बताऊंगा. ठीक है. 15 days later he came to me and he said कि पापा मैं ना इस साल नहीं जा रहा हूँ. I want to take a break for this year. I want to go to 4-5 different companies, do internships. He's already interning with one company, once a week जाता है वहाँ पे. And I want to not only do internship in India, कुछ इंडिया में करूँगा, कुछ यूएस में कहीं पे करूँगा, and he knows कि भैया पापा ने अपना और कुछ ज़िंदगी बनाया नहीं बनाया, अपना प्यार बहुत खींचा है, बहुत नेटवर्क बना लिया है, तो कहीं ना कहीं and thanks to you know everything that for last 10 years, तो प्यार बहुत बनाया, तो जहाँ पे मैं उंगली रखूँगा पापा वहाँ पे एक इंटर्नशिप दिलवा देंगे. So what I'm just saying is कि यार अपना parents are fine. आपको सब उनको कन्विंस करना है कि यू हैव द कैपेबिलिटी टू. मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है मैं स्टूडेंट्स को एड्रेस कर रहा हूँ.
But a lot of people sitting here may not agree with you because they deal with parents, and parents don't. Every parent is not like you, right?
देखो एक और बात है कि अपना someone told me कि भैया why do western countries sell toilet paper is क्योंकि आप पानी बेच नहीं सकते और टॉयलेट पेपर बेच सकते हो. It has to be commercialized. So obviously आप offbeat career बेचना मुश्किल है. जो कैरियर ऑलरेडी बिक रहा है, अच्छे से बिक रहा है, वो बेचना आसान है. भारत इसके बाद सारे मुझे मारेंगे. सो अपना टू कट थिंग्स शॉर्ट, टू गिव माय आंसर, आई थिंक पेरेंट्स आर इवॉल्विंग. आई डील एज एन ऑब्जर्वर, आई नो, एज अ पर्सन आई नो, बट आई थिंक देयर इज अ ह्यूज वे टू गो. बट एज अ there's a possibility and things are getting better.
Sure. Thanks, Gurpreet. Kapil, what do you think about the parents' perception?
So, I have a kid who's in class 8. I would, struggling the same as he has, but I would share another perspective. I run an organization called NEETprep.com, and we prepare students for NEET exam. Now, the fascinating thing that has happened this year is, typically in any exam, maximum number of applicants in any year should not increase by more than 1 to 2%. The rate at which population is growing in India, it should not be more than that. It increased from 16.5 lakh last year to 18.72 lakh this year. So what is happening is, and JE has gone down from around 15 lakh to around 9.5 lakh. So what is beginning to happen is, around in our world, engineering profession is crashing. If you're not a computer science engineer, if you're not doing coding, mechanical, civil, electrical, the traditional, industrial, they're literally dying. People from private engineering colleges, electronics and communication are showing up at your homes, fixing ACs from urban company. So this is the reality of engineering today. Obviously, commerce arts obviously have had more struggles around historically in terms of getting jobs. So a lot of these people in exam called NEET, National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, which was originally for getting admission in MBBS and BDS, they have removed the age limit. There is no attempt limit. And if you are not from physics, chemistry, bio, you can go to National Open School, become a private candidate and write NEET, and you would at least have certainty of a 15 to 25,000 rupee job in healthcare sector, and a lot of investment outlay for obvious reasons has happened in healthcare sector. So to summarize, I do believe while parent and students are struggling because students are now exposed to much more information because of internet, the external environment is also extremely fluid. It is very difficult to say what is right, what is wrong. As a parent, to exactly tell the student, do this, and you will be able to do what you want. All of us are kind of struggling with, while there is a lot of information, the precise information, the way you should absorb and then you should be able to communicate, that is a scarce commodity.
Thanks, Kapil. So, next round of discussion I would want to have on the kind of different offbeat careers students are picking up these days. Like, all of us have heard of offbeat careers like YouTubing, blogging, Instagram influencing. Gurpreet is an Instagram influencer, is a food blogger. There are people who are trying different things. There are people who are kind of doing different things. So maybe I'll just start with Mandeep and would ask him to point out certain offbeat careers that he thinks are popular these days, and then maybe Ashu and Gurpreet and Kapil could point out some interesting careers.
I'd like to answer it in two parts. First, I'll answer the question you've raised. Some of the offbeat careers that students, parents have come to us, the creative arts are very, very popular. So we have a lot of students coming for filmmaking, film production, music production. I was discussing with Gurpreet over lunch. I said, you know, people come to me and say, हम blogger बनेंगे. I said, यार, other than the fact कि blogger मेरे को पता है वो video बनाता है, I really don't know how it works. So he took a crash course of 45 seconds to explain to me, you know, that he actually makes money from it. So kids are very enamored of that. And that's the second point I want to make. My guess is that in our society, and this was also a discussion I think happening before lunch, when we were talking of the fact, you know, how does our education policy work, etc. I think the one driver of career choices for parents and students has become this notion of कि मैं पैसे कितने कमा पाऊंगा उसमें. And as a result, you know, what we say in sales is जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So a career which is at that point of time very visible naturally catches the imagination of kids. Today it's computers, okay, fortunately or unfortunately. But whenever someone comes to me, and this happens a lot, and they say, जी ultimately तो जी पैसे कमाने हैं, and without any disrespect to any profession, I tell them, यार, the most money that you can earn is if you get into property. आप उससे ज़्यादा पैसे कमा ही नहीं सकते, दुनिया में आप कुछ मर्जी कर लो. And you should see the jaw of the parents drop. कि जी मैं तो पढ़ा रहा हूँ इसको. I said, yeah, but if your focus is only money, then your focus can't be a career. That's one. So the careers that are coming up, a lot of these creative ones, but even there, yes, there is resistance. My own opinion, if I can take 30 seconds. Sure. In terms of offbeat careers, and a lot of you are educators, career counselors, even I aspire to be a career counselor like some of you. I believe that the two subjects, or the careers that two subjects open up are very, very underrepresented in our entire discussions. One is careers in economics. Second is careers after psychology. There is a fixed mindset around these two subjects. There may be others as well. These are two that I believe in a lot. That if you've studied one of these subjects, the kind of career opportunities that will open up to you either as an employee of a company or because you've got a technical skill, you can, you know, start being an entrepreneur. Apna ek telephone computer rakh le, you can, you know, earn a good, decent living, are immense. So if I ever talk to school children about saying, think out of the box, I always and always urge them to discover, like Gurpreet's son was lucky, you know, he got the chance, kids shared passwords, so he discovered economics, accounts, and then physics. Discover economics, discover psychology, and then see where your life takes you. So I think that really is offbeat careers in this context for me.
Thanks, Mandeep.
So I think I'm going to take a slightly more macro view on things, right? I mean, I think my career gives me that choice of taking a macro view on things. I think you know, in any connected economy, and I think this is something that we've been deliberating for a very long time with a lot of founders, and like I said, right, all the stakeholders that we've been speaking. In a connected economy, there are two ends that work phenomenally well, right? And you can draw parallels from developed markets like US, Europe. So one extreme is that of extreme knowledge and intelligence, right? Where you essentially have all of your consulting companies, right? You have your McKinseys of the world, Bains, KPMGs, all of them, right? And the second extreme is that of creative, right? And that's where you see your Hollywood and Bollywood and, for example, influencers, painters in the works, right? In a connected economy where, you know, the flow of information, you know, this is what we talk of in stock markets, right? Which is perfect world, right? Where you have all information seamlessly flowing. In a connected world, that's exactly what is happening, right? So now information is available at your fingertips, right? I mean, with geo coming in, you know, and all of, say, social media platforms and news being available, you know, there is little arbitrage that you have over anybody else, right? Which essentially means you're in a connected ecosystem. So in a connected ecosystem, only these two extremes make a lot of money or premium that they charge. The thing is that when you talk of careers, right, and when you're talking about choice of careers for kids, right, our kids, other kids in general, the fear of unknown, when it's intelligence knowledge, the possibility of earning a premium is more longer term, right? And that is the reason you see that the consulting companies go from strength to strength, right? Which essentially means, you know, all of everything, accounting, and, you know, variety of things that you're going to be using as far as that is concerned, right? Which is the safer bet, right? And I think that's Indian parents are essentially attuned to that, or not just Indian parents, but parents who've had lesser education and, you know, and not being able to participate in the economic growth and all that, they'll essentially sort of be tuned towards that. And that's the larger skew. The other is the creative skew. Now, the challenges with the creative skew is while it could look interesting and exciting, the problem in India is that of too many. हमारे पास हर चीज़ के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा लोग हैं करने के लिए. The possibility to command a premium is very, very limited, right? So abhi kya ho raha hai, for example, influencer marketing, for example, is picked up in a huge way. Of course, Gurpreet can comment about that because he's sort of dealing with it in, firsthand. As a lot of trackability comes in, which is little lesser, eventually it will get commoditized, right? And the other thing with creativity is that fads fly faster. So the consumption and the consumer preference are going to move very, very fast, right? So a creative kid or a creative student or a creative professional, how quickly can they continue to upgrade themselves, think afresh, think new, I think will really define how far do they go. And that's a very, very, very difficult piece to sort of crack, right? Because you come from a certain setting, you come from a certain background, there's a certain thought process that you have, certain visualization that you have. It's very difficult to move out of it, right? And that's a very big challenge, is how I see it. So honestly speaking, a lot of this is what is happening is exciting. It's being consumed in a big way. How all of this continues to be in next 3, 4, 5 years, honestly, is a big question mark. So I'll abstain from making a comment, but this was like a macro view of sorts in terms of how I look at it.
Sure.
It's scary to an extent, at least if I'm you ask me.
Thanks, Ashu. So maybe Gurpreet can also not talk about certain unconventional careers. Okay, maybe Kapil and then Gurpreet.
We talk about unconventional, let us not go 1 to 3.
Yeah.
1 to and skip to 4 and then come back to
Yeah, sure. So Kapil, talk about certain unconventional careers that you have heard of, you have dealt with and things like that, right? So,
I can actually tell you one which.
yeah. Maybe you could keep it closer to him.
Oh, okay. So I'll give a quick example of myself, and I think in some ways we probably have to think in terms of what is the commonality between everything that you do and where you require some very specific, if you will, domain-specific skill sets. So integrity, hard work, all those things would be consistent everywhere. Just to prove my point. So I did my BTech from IIT Delhi in 2001. In my first year, I got convinced I didn't want to be an engineer, exactly like Farhan's time, right? In 3 years. And that guy, Chetan Bhagat, is 4 years senior to us from the same hostel, right? I became a recruiter, and then I went for my MBA 4 years later from University of Southern California. And after MBA, I figured out I wanted to be an engineer. Right? So I'm literally telling you, there is, now the whole thing is seamless. I'm helping students prepare for NEET today. I've never done biology in my life, right? So I decide to become, I found my love for engineering, whatever it is. My first job in US, I joined a firm, and it's a consulting firm. My first job is to do repair overall of aircrafts for US Air Force. B-2, B-52 bombers, and KC-135 mid-air refueler. And then I come back to India and do infrastructure projects for the same organization. All of these things do not require any single extra skill, right? And then I'm running an online education company. So what I'm wondering, because I, as a parent, as I said, I'm struggling in terms of providing direction in terms of career to my child. He comes up with some random career every day, and I don't feel like responding anymore, right? It almost seems like, how do I tell him become serious, right? Now, are you joking? You can't keep saying the same thing again and again, right? But what I do
And
believe,
careers like?
he one day said, I'm going to have a big van and I'm going to be a journalist. I said, why do you require a big van for that, right? So he had some connect in his head of, now I'm not going to challenge it and waste my time, right?
I think as you grow older, you get there, right?
So what I'm trying to say, it seems that, and when we even hire people, right, basic English skills, if you're writing English with a lot of grammatical errors, you're going to struggle. When you interview a lot of people from tier 2, tier 3 towns, their English teachers are probably bad. So you ask them to write 1 page of English, and you'll find 5 grammatical errors. Those people will struggle because they can only interact on WhatsApp, they'll not be able to write emails. Till how far you can get in your career if you're not able to write pure English emails seems to be a problem. Obviously, hard work, integrity. In my mind, one rule should be, if you're a newcomer in an organization, you should be the first person to reach, and you should be the last person to leave, right? And you would pick up things faster. Some of these things, I believe, if these can be inculcated earlier, other things, fads would change, trends would change, healthcare would become bigger someday, ethical piracy would become some other day. You don't know, and the pace of change is just mind-boggling, right? I'm again, if you ask people what happened, why did 2.58 lakh aspirants increase in 1 year? It is an absolutely crazy number. To give you an idea, again, Bihar government came out with an ad. We want 8,000 nurses. They were able to recruit only 5,000, right? Now, it doesn't happen in India that you advertise a job, it doesn't get filled. So all these opportunities will keep coming up, but in my mind, and there are going to be offbeat careers as well, but some basic skills would be required, some basic ethos would be required in every job to be successful.
I think we're becoming a very demanding economy on the consumer side.
We are.
I think so. Institutionalized practice
Yes,
is going to be very
yes,
important.
yes. And we are going to go into a world where permanent jobs will not exist. We would probably be continuously in Uber, Zomato mode, job by job, and it is going to be more capacity utilization, but the certainty of.
So, I have a slightly different perspective. Can I just, if you don't mind?
Sure.
So I have a slightly different perspective on that, right? So I think, what is happening is with what we are seeing, right? This entire democratization of possibility of, say, creating a content and, gig economy kind of picking up, right? And everybody's kind of talking about gig. My sense is, I think, the consumer is going aware every single day, right? All of us are growing far more aware every single day. So, we're going to very quickly transition of being in this, guerrilla warfare sort of a zone to being very, very institutionalized very quickly, right? You're going to need more credible institutions. Your reliability on more credible institutions will be higher, is how I see it. So I think those are some very serious challenges that I see, as we grow along.
Sure.
That's my sense.
Sure. So we are running short of time, so we'll take inputs from Gurpreet and then we'll open up for Q&A from the audience, right? So Gurpreet, some unconventional careers that you have heard of.
जी, so हमने पहले बोले time कम है तो have to be super quick. Otherwise I can talk about this for 1-2 hours probably. So first of all, quickly, children are rebels. ठीक है ना, उनको वो काम करना है जो दुनिया नहीं कर रही है. One has to understand that. आज की दुनिया में सब कुछ सोशल मीडिया पे है. They want काम जिसमें शोषा हो, जिसमें दुनिया उनको देखे और वाह करे, चाहे रुपया मिले उसके अंदर, दूसरे में चाहे 10 रुपये मिले, लेकिन दुनिया को बच्चों को करना है जिसके अंदर शोषा हो, जिसमें just that is why how when we started food blogging के अंदर अपना हम 20 लोग थे.
बट ऐसा तो आप कर रहे हो ना?
हाँ जी.
मैं कह रहा हूँ ऐसा तो आप कर रहे हो, आपको देख के बच्चे ऐसा करना चाहते हैं.
सर मैं नहीं कर रहा. मैं तो अपना काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं तो अपने को एक्सप्रेस कर रहा हूँ. Someone is getting impressed and want to do it and it does not suit his personality, then it's a different thing. देखो बड़ी सिंपल सी कहानी है. हम सारे के सारे ना अलग अलग बीज हैं. तो मैं शायद मैंगो का बीज हूँ और मेरे पिताजी जो हैं वो प्रॉब्ली नारियल का बीज है. अब नारियल के बीज को आप केरला में उगा दो, वो बढ़िया से उग जाएगा. अब आप मैंगो का बीज वहाँ पे उगा दोगे तो वो ना मैंगो बनेगा ना वो नारियल बनेगा. ठीक है ना. सो प्रॉब्लम इज दैट अपना फॉर मी आई नो व्हाट इज गुड फॉर मी, बट कोई किसी को ये ना सोचे. देखो व्हाई आई यूज द वर्ड क्लैरिटी. क्लैरिटी बहुत जरूरी है. आपको पता होना चाहिए हु यू आर, व्हाट यू वांट टू डू एंड व्हाट यू वांट टू अकम्प्लिश इन लाइफ. आप छलांग पानी में नहीं मार दोगे कि हाँ जी ये मुझे इसमें सीप मिलेगा. प्रॉब्लम अच्छी चाहिए आपको, तो सीप क्यों ढूंढ रहे हो आप. कमिंग बैक टू ऑफबीट करियर्स, भंडार खुल चुका है, भंडार खुलने वाला है. इफ यू वांट टू हियर सम ऑफबीट करियर्स,
यस,
आई थिंक कंटेंट क्रिएशन विल कीप ग्रोइंग. यू ऑल्सो हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि भैया जरूरत क्या बढ़ रही है. सो टुडे कोविड ने एक चीज लाइज कर दी कि भैया मेंटल स्पेस, मेंटल हेल्थ की तरफ कोई ध्यान नहीं देता है. So as you mentioned psychology, I think mental health will keep growing. Therapists will keep growing. They've already grown in the last 2 years, and I see at least like 500 to 5,000 times. I'm using that number that the need of mental therapists is required. Companies today would have happiness officer rather than just having a HR officer. You'll see a chief happiness officer coming in companies very soon. You want unconventional careers? I'll tell you, जहाँ पे scarcity है. So for if you say there is a golf, a golf, क्या कहते हैं, golf आप खेलते हैं, golf course. तो golf course में there is a scarcity of people जो जब golf जाती है तो बीच में pond होता है, उसमें ball जाती है. वो एक अलग एक career है, which is a career which is paid very well. Today people are getting lonely and accept the fact that people are getting more pets. लेकिन उनके पास टाइम नहीं है पेट को खिलाने का, पेट को वॉक पे ले जाने का. People are hiring people की यार मेरे कुत्ते को अपना जाके जरा घुमा के ले और भैया पैसे लो, because today people have money, they are, if you are giving a convenience to someone, people don't mind paying for it. So you have to see as an offbeat career what kind of service you can give, and opportunities are immense. I just noted a few points while I was sitting there, so I'll quickly. So yes, fitness. Everybody is focusing on fitness. There's so many fitness gurus have come in. I think again it'll keep growing. We talk about chefs. I think खाना कोई खाना बंद नहीं करेगा, और अब क्या हो गया because of the changing people, and thanks. कई बार होता है हम रात को पोस्ट डालते हैं, ये खाए तो रात को 2 बजे आ जाएगा, भैया आपकी वजह से स्विगी का सेल बढ़ गई, मेरे को खाना ऑर्डर करना पड़ गया. So you will also see lot many chefs अपना coming up, podcasts, pet grooming की मैं बात करता हूँ, styling, personal shoppers. Today we buy whatever you want to wear. हमारे पास जब brown color अच्छा लग रहा है कि नहीं लग रहा है, we'll go and buy it. But we will have personal shoppers, coming in, stylists coming in, and I have a long list, but I'll keep it short because आपने पहले बोल दिया कि time नहीं है हमारे पास.
Sure. So, wonderful discussion. Now we'll open up for questions from the audience before closing the panel. So maybe you can pass the mic around. So anybody who's got a question? Aishwarya, right?
Very interesting discussion. First question ये है कि I was watching a series और उसमें एक stand-up comedian है, खुद ही बोलता है कि मुझे लोग आके पूछते हैं कि अच्छा stand-up comedian हो पर करते क्या हो कमाने के लिए.